Hello, my name's Ancheva, and I'm the sophomore Edmunds Scholar here at Stetson University. I'm a double major in political science and global development, which is a new economics major focused on the developing world. Thinking about my first year here at Stetson, it's crazy to think it's already flown by. I can't help but remember why I chose Stetson to begin with, and how this past year has shown me that I made the right choice. When I first stepped foot on campus about a year and a half ago, I immediately fell in love with it. Anyone will tell you that Stetson has the most beautiful campus in Florida, hands down. I also, just talking to the professors, I noticed how kind and smart and genuine everyone here was, and that is still true to this day. It is the best atmosphere to go to school in, and to have that support system from everyone around you. Stetson really is unique in that sense. Academically speaking, the professors here are top-notch. They are willing to do anything for their students. They will help you if you're struggling. They will give you extra opportunities to learn. They'll engage with you in the classroom. My favorite thing about Stetson is that it's a small class size, so you're not sitting in a 400-person lecture room listening to a professor talk, but you're actually engaging with other students and you're engaging with your professors in about a 20-person classroom. And I think that's been really critical for me because it's by far the best way to learn. So I am a political science and global development major, like I mentioned, and those two majors I think are really critical for what I want to do after college. I want to go back to DC, hopefully, or work at some sort of international organization focused on policy development and economics in the developing world. So it's really great that Stetson has this major because I think it's not something that a lot of schools offer. And so in terms of global development, I've gotten to learn about how capitalism and globalization affect developing countries. And I took a really cool class last semester in the spring with Dr. Nyland and Dr. Green called Foundations of Globalization. And we traced capitalism all the way back to its origins in the 14th century and feudalism. And that's something that I never really thought I'd be interested in, but the way the class was taught and the way that it was presented to us and it engaged us, it really sparked my interest, and I enjoyed that class a lot. And now I feel like I have that background for understanding current events and capitalism today. And that's just one example of the types of classes we have. I mean, in terms of political science, I've taken Russian politics, or I've taken classes focusing on French politics, Nigerian politics. It's the international perspective that I've been looking for all of high school, and I can finally take all these classes that I'm interested in. And the professors have really gone out of their way to help. I can go into office hours whenever I want, whether it's to get help with an assignment or to just talk about life or what I want to do after college. They're really there to support you and to give you advice and to guide you in the right path, which has been really helpful for me. I'm really thankful to my advisor, Dr. Nyland, for helping me figure out what I wanted to do this last summer. I was looking for an internship in DC, and I had a few options, but I really wasn't sure which one was the best for me and which one I should go with. So I ended up talking to him a few times during office hours. He connected me with a few people that he knew up in DC, so I got to hear their perspective as well. And after talking to him, I realized that the best option for me was working at the Potomac Institute International Center for Terrorism Studies. The Potomac Institute's International Center for Terrorism Studies focuses on current terrorist threats, global terrorist trends, and the study of different terrorist groups. And I was one of 10 interns this past summer working under the supervision of Professor Yona Alexander, doing work on all sorts of terrorist research and terrorist propaganda videos, really anything that we were interested in, we were allowed to kind of study through this lens last summer. So I particularly focused on Europe, especially Eastern Europe, and the global terrorist threat in terms of how terrorism affects European countries. So I was really lucky to get that internship, and I think a huge part of that has to do with the Stetson education that I've attained so far, and also the generosity of the Edmunds scholarship, because I was able to use my Edmunds summer stipend this past summer, which helped me pay for living expenses and other sorts of fees living in Washington, D.C. all summer. So that's been really great, and I'm very thankful for that because not a lot of people get to do an internship after their freshman year of college, especially something as great as working in D.C. for a summer. That's really great for any political science major. Outside of school, I like to keep very busy. I've continued my involvement with a lot of things that I did in high school, but also freshman year. And I've also learned how to prioritize this year, so that's been great for me. I'm president of Alpha Kappa Psi this semester, which is the professional business fraternity here on campus. And even though I'm not a business major, it's really been a great chance to develop myself professionally and to just grow as a person. We do a lot of different professional development activities, working with employers, networking, and that I think was also a huge part of why I got my internship this last summer. But it's also been great being in that presidential role, especially at the young age of as being a sophomore. I've learned how to work with people, how to make sure that all goals can be completed. I've learned how to manage a chapter of 70 members. So I think that's a really critical experience that's going to be helpful when I join the real world and have to talk about what I did in college and how I developed myself. I'm also on the philanthropy team for a Greek organization here, so I do a lot of philanthropy events, raising money for breast cancer education and awareness, more specifically the American Cancer Society. So I've had a lot of experience with community service through that, volunteering at the annual American Cancer Society walk in Daytona Beach every year, and just trying to help give back to the community in all sorts of different ways. Another way that I like to give back to the community, and that's also through Alpha Kappa Psi, is resume coaching for people in downtown DeLand. I go to Spring Hill Community Center and I help various citizens and residents work on their resumes so that they can get better jobs and have higher income for their families. And I think that's a really easy way for Stetson students to give back to the community that we're a part of, and I've been really happy to do that for the past year. On top of that, I was also a focus leader this past summer, which is an orientation leader for incoming freshmen, and that was a really cool experience because there was about 80 of us here 2 weeks early on campus getting ready to welcome these freshmen to Stetson and show them why we love Stetson. And there was no sleep and a lot of coffee, but it was definitely one of my favorite summer experiences, just getting to see them all so excited to be here and showing them everything this campus has to offer. And I still keep in touch with my 25 foci. We still text all the time. I still make sure that they're doing well because that's what my focus leaders did for me, and I think that's what Stetson does in general, is this tradition of caring for each other and reaching out and always being there for each other. Nothing that I mentioned today would have been possible without the generosity and support of the Edmunds and Novak family. I can't thank you enough for the opportunity to study here at Stetson. I've loved every second of it, and I can't wait to see what I accomplish before I graduate. But also I'd just like to thank you for the support that you give us year-round, especially when we get to see you during homecoming weekend or during the spring semesters. We can really see how much you care and how much you want us to succeed, and that means the world to me. Thank you so much.